Well, boys, thanks for joining me. More exciting news to share with the Blues family that two of our wing division have signed on for the 2021-22 championship campaign. Pat, I guess it's best to start with you. You're our longest serving player here at Goldington Road, heading into your 8th campaign. Can you tell us some of the reasons why it is that you want to continue your stay here at Goldington Road?
I mean, anyone that knows me knows how much Bedford Blues means to me, and Bedford the town does as well. So, I mean, for me, it's not really a choice of, like, I wouldn't want to play anywhere else. There isn't another club that would even remotely interest me. So, as long as Mike and Bedford want me to be here, I'll be here.
Yes, fair. It's fair to say that you're quite settled here in Bedford. You've got a job as well. I guess that also takes part of your thought process to staying here at Bedford.
I mean, it plays a role, but I mean, the rugby-related side of being in Bedford's the priority. It's very honoured to still be here and still playing.
Yeah, longest serving member, 8th full season. You're the most recent member of the Bedford Blues Century Club. I guess that's just another marker for the shortened 2021 campaign. It was something to start the season off at Coventry with, and you end the season as the joint top try scorer as well.
Yeah, it wasn't the season that we wanted, but however, there was obviously some highlights in it for me, and I'm sure there was for other players as well, and like Andre getting to play his first game in the championship and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's very enjoyable.
Yeah, Andre, for you, a strange season moving to Bedford in the January before a shortened campaign, but you spent the previous 2 years on the sidelines. I guess you were just so excited to come back and play competitive rugby.
Yeah, it was quite a tough few years. So obviously I was injured, and then I kind of lucky enough to get a call up to come to Bedford for 6 months. So I came for 6 months and then tried it out, and I absolutely loved it. And then the coaches obviously wanted me to stay on, so I couldn't be more happier, to be honest. I'm absolutely buzzing to stay. I'm excited for next season, to be honest.
Yeah, 4 appearances later on in the campaigns, you started to build yourself into the Blues family. You could have had about 18 different tries, but we kept on ruling them out for some reason.
Yeah, it's them referees, isn't it?
But I guess next season you're more just looking to keep on building, because it must have been really difficult for you in the what would be your fledgling years of adult rugby to not play, to come into Bedford. I guess it's just about building even further on last season.
Yeah, I guess so. It's like you say, it's just more like game time I need. Because I think towards the end of the season, I was getting like 5 minutes more every time. So I just hope the next season I get like around the same as I finished on. So and then just build up more and more and more, and then hopefully one game I'll play a lot more minutes. So it's tough coming into men's rugby, like you say, straight away off the bat, off injury. So it's just a case of getting back into it and just building myself in slowly.
Yeah, you were in and around the Yorkshire Academy around the time that they were in the championship as well. But you say to make that step up's a lot harder when you're playing in actual matches. I mean, how difficult did you find the championship in your first season?
It was actually really tough. I'm not gonna lie, because it was more of a mental thing for me. But then as I got my first game in, I kind of got my confidence back a bit, and then the lads really helped. Like, it really helped that I was settled into a good club. Like, they were really like welcoming and everything, so that kind of made it a bit easier. And then the last, like, I think, like you said, I played 4 games. So the last couple of games, they did get harder because obviously the teams got a bit better. And then, but no, I really enjoyed them games that I played. I think the coaches put me on for a perfect amount of time just so I don't get injured, because obviously I'm basically injury prone, aren't I? So I don't want to be pushing myself anymore.
And Tap, as your 8th season, as we've said, going into the championship, how much has the championship changed from when you joined to now?
I mean, it's gone through many different periods, basically. Obviously, when I first joined, everyone was working. I was working. That was what everyone did in the Championship, and then slowly but surely it became obviously slightly more of a professional league across all the clubs. And obviously, as we've seen, it seems like it's going to be regressing back towards more of a semi-professional structure. I mean, not that any of us really know exactly what's going to be going on next year properly with all the other clubs. But in terms of quality, I think there was probably very similar level of players. It's probably the game's just a bit more organised as is across the board. Yeah, it's I don't know, it's a bit different, but at the same time, not much changes. Still the same game.
And targets for the season, I guess. Tapley's only been in and around the league for so long. Is it the same every season, or do you change up your thought process going into different seasons, or is it just literally the same? Play as many minutes as I can, score as many tries as I can, be part of a winning team.
You've nailed that straight away. Nothing I'd change. Yeah, I mean, as a team, we always go into every game believing that we can beat the team that we're against, and it does happen. Beating the best teams in the league and the teams that have been promoted when they have done during the campaign. Yeah, and then for me personally, obviously, it's just play as many games as possible, score as many tries as possible, and play rugby that I enjoy playing.
I suppose it's difficult for you, but can you pick out a standout Championship moment so far?
I mean, whenever I get asked this, it's always going to be the London Welsh game, second game I played for Bedford at home when we beat them. Scored 2 tries and was man of the match, and it just sort of propelled me into playing as a regular fixture part of that Bedford team of that year. So yeah, that will always be the moment that I think back on first when I'm thinking of like the best moment.
Andre, when you listen to people like Tappers talking about a long career in the Championship, do you almost feel like it could be you in a couple of years' time?
Yeah, I do actually, because I like everyone loves Bedford and everyone just loves the club and everyone just loves being around it. So I kind of hope that I'm in that sort of position in a few years' time where, like Taps, he's built himself up and managed to play loads of games, and he's done really well. So I kind of hope that I'm in that position in a few years' time. Yeah.
Cheers, Andre, mate.
No worries, mate.
And I suppose, Andre, when you've got a player like Pat when you first arrive here, especially in the same position, played a lot of Championship games, one of the star players for Bedford. I guess it's that learning culture that he can help you with. I guess that helped you settle in as well immediately from the off.
Yeah, it did actually. I mean, there's a few lads that really helped me settle in as well. Taps as well. Like, it's just them, like, when you're young and you're coming in, they kind of like guide you and help you out a lot more, which is really good. And loads of the players have done it, and they've kind of just made me become better over time. And obviously, I've got a few years still in the tank. Well, probably a lot more years in the tank, but I'm saying a few years to see like where I can get, how good I can get, and hopefully the lads will. Well, I know the lads will help me out with that. So yeah, it's good.
And Tappers, we all saw it in training. The enthusiasm, we'll call it, from Andre throughout the season was I would describe it as infectious, and it really helped the squad actually. But how good was it to have someone that was so keen to nail down a marker, hitting the ground running, and really, really getting involved?
It's always good to see people that come to the club with passion to play for, well, just to play rugby in general, but in particular for Bedford. It's one of the benefits of the way that Bedford brings in younger lads who may not have the proven experience, but at least when they get there, you know that they're going to want to put 110% into everything. And I mean, I was in that position myself when I first came. You come there as someone who hasn't played at that sort of level, you want to put your marker down and show that you are good enough. Whereas obviously the opposite side of that is sometimes you can have lads who've been there and done all of it. It's harder for them to maybe come in and be as motivated. But yeah, like you said, it was fantastic to see Andre charging around. reckless, some may say, but
Nearly knocking myself out every trip. We'll get past that point.
And Andre, we've spoken a little bit about Tappers, but what's his main strengths?
What Taps his main strengths
as a player? Yeah,
I'd say just his running with the ball is really good. When he gets the ball, he just takes off, and like he knows where the space is, and his spatial awareness is good. And I'd say his resilience is good as well. So yeah, to be fair, he's a good player all around. I'm not trying to boost his ego, but I'm just saying he is a good player all around.
Glowing CV there. Andre, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was the social element here at the club. You obviously didn't experience that too much because of the COVID pandemic. We're hoping to have a little bit more normality heading into next season. I guess that again brings the squad together, and something that you'll be looking forward to, having a fuller pre-season schedule.
Yeah, well, we had one social like in the middle, which kind of actually a social kind of brings the lads together like a lot more, and it makes them get to know each other a bit more. And then we had one at the end of the season, like just right at the end, and it's good to have them because like obviously gets you to know the lads and everything. And then when you actually get into training, you've got a bit of crack, know what to talk about. And then hopefully next season, like you say, this year's been a bit dull with COVID, but hopefully next season it's going to be a lot different. I've heard a lot of good things of the social side, that it's like a lot different. So hopefully I'll get to experience that very soon.
And Tappers, how much of a full pre-season schedule and that kind of things does it bring together a squad at Bedford?
Bedford is, I mean, there's a massive part of it. We want to organise different things so that it breaks up just monotonous running and trying to get fit, ready for the season. Because like Andre says, a big part of being a part of a team is becoming friends. And Mike Ray is obviously a big driving force of wanting to create a team that are tight-knit. And obviously the social elements are a key component of doing that.
And talking further about the environment of this club, the supporter base is obviously is the best in the championship. Andre, you only got to experience that a little bit, really. We had, I think, a couple of hundred go to Nottingham, and as full a capacity as we could have at Goldington Road for the Ampthill game. How much of a difference was that in your last two games compared to your first two games at Bedford, which I think was Richmond and Doncaster, where there were no crowds?
Well, everyone said to me before I joined, the Bedford crowds like it's just ridiculous, and it really it kind of just cheers you on to even play even better. And them last two games that I played, it actually did have a bit of like an effect, like a good effect. So it makes you like want to perform better when you're in front of people and stuff. And then I'd say they just get behind you, and especially when we went to Nottingham, I think it was Nottingham. I think I don't know how many people travelled, but loads of people travelled from Bedford to come watch, and it was the first game that they could kind of come watch, and that was actually the kind of first sort of experience with crowd, and it was really, really good. And then I think the next game was at Ampthill, but and that was just unbelievable as well. And there was more crowd at Ampthill game because obviously it's a local derby, and it does drive you. It kind of it has a good effect on you, especially the Bedford crowd. They just get behind you. It's really good.
I mean, Tappers, we've spoken in podcasts, programme interviews, post-match interviews, pre-match interviews, any other interview that I can think of. And you always talk about how important the crowd is here at Bedford. I guess for somebody who's experienced it for so long and been used to having 2,500, 3,000 in the crowd every, how good was it at Ampthill to at least have part of that back to lead us on to what was the best result that season?
Yeah, I was about to add that at the end. I was like, I mean, without them, that's a game that we could have possibly lost, and I think it probably did have that impetus to get us over the line. So, like you say, you can't without Bedford not having the crowd for us, it's probably had an impact on the outcome of this season. It probably shows the difference that it does make for us. And obviously, as you alluded to, I will always bring up the fact that the Bedford crowd is is a massive part of what makes Bedford Bedford. So yeah, next season, thoroughly looking forward to actually having the full amount in there, and be able to catch up with people that I didn't get to speak to at all this year. So obviously that's a big part of why I want to stay is to be able to do that.
Yeah, and Andre, looking forward to the full campaign. It gives you a bit of time to, I guess, to meet the fans. You probably haven't met them yet so far, but a full campaign as well. You're going to feel like you're properly in Bedford, even though you've been here for 6, 7, 8 months.
Yeah, well, me and my housemate Corey were saying that the first 3 months in Bedford was really dull because obviously you couldn't do anything, you couldn't meet anyone because of COVID. And then when things started to open up a bit and you got to meet people that were actually a big part of the club, and obviously some of the crowd and everything, and you bump into people, and even if you go to the shops and stuff. But I'm excited to see for next season because the last few weeks at Bedford when I left were really, really good. And it'll be really good to meet all the crowd, get to know them, get to know some of the people that are really close in Bedford and stuff. So yeah, I'm looking really forward to that next season.
And I guess we'll go with one final question to you both. Andre, if you can kick us off, do you have a message for the Blues family ahead of the 2021-22 campaign?
Yeah, I'd just like to say a big thank you to all the Blues supporters for all their support with obviously me and all the lads over the season, and I'll really forward to playing there next season. I can't wait to meet you all.
Same as similar to what Andre just said. Big thank you to the continued support, everyone that's buying the streams and merchandise and stuff when they couldn't come to the grounds. Obviously, really appreciated from not just myself but everyone else involved. And can't wait to come back September and see you all there.
Perfect. Well, I think that's enough for the fans to get their teeth into. Boys, thank you for joining me this evening. I'll let you get back on with the rest of your days, and we'll see you for pre-season in, I think, about 3 weeks' time. Enjoy the rest of your well-deserved summer break.